Or this one?
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, hello, everyone.
It's going to be a while.
So this is a really timely presentation, of course, for lots of reasons, as many of them you know. But one of the things that I learned this week was 23 species went extinct. And then I read a little bit more about it, so that was like, oh my, heartbreaking. And, you know, some people are saying, well, we're giving it 3 months before we make a final list because they're still always looking for these species. So, but it did, you know, it's just one of those moments. It's just a recognition of the reality of the times in which we are living and the significance of, well, the absolute essential aspect of Earth health is biodiversity as well. So, as well as all the things we're going to learn about doing and so on. So, so in the spirit of just recognizing the gravity of what we're entering into, as well as our ability to make a difference, everything we talked about this morning, our co-creative ability to work together and make a difference. I just want to give thanks to Tyler and the Earth Care team for bringing this to us, and for those of you who are here to get involved and to truly begin to walk this talk. And then Lee Sparling, of course, is our Earth Care team lead, who started all of this for us and has been doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, Lee. So a lot has already been accomplished in a short time, and of course Tyler works at Sustainable Contra Costa, and so he's 2 times with here and there, and he's very well steeped in his care and his practical ways of honoring the earth, as are all the team members. So just thanks for all of that. Let's bring that all, presencing it in our prayers here. So it is with grateful hearts, sometimes heavy hearts, that we walk this path, connected to Mother Earth, aware of the preciousness of life. And as we behold the flowers and the trees, the grasses and the animals, the people, the life upon this earth, let's continue to do so by beholding the divine in all things. The more we do, the more we honor life. The more we honor life, the more we have life. Jesus said that I came so that you may have life and have it abundantly. And so we have come so that there may be life on earth, and that all beings may have it and live it abundantly, that all life may thrive in conscious oneness, that we all will spiritually awaken and do our part. You're here today to do your part, so thank you. And thank you, God, for guiding us every step of the way. And so it is. I don't know what more wonderful things to say about you.
You don't have to say anything else.
We love you.
I'm going to.
We appreciate you. We are grateful for your work here at Unity and in our county. And thanks for leading us today.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think the lion's share of gratitude goes to the Earth Care team. You know, I'm just kind of coming along, but they had the initiative to start this whole process, not just the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge, but the Unity of Walnut Creek Earth Care expression in all the forms it's going to take, and I know they have plans to roll out other things in the future. So I'm really appreciative of them and their energy and their care. I don't have the bandwidth to be that Earth Care guy here at church for various reasons, but I do, by way of a small introduction. If you don't know, my other job is as the program administrator for Sustainable Contra Costa. I worked there for almost 8 years now. I'm not the normal public outreach, community guy that goes around and does these slideshows. So I'm not an expert on every single aspect, but I know enough. I've done this before, and I've worked with the people who do it, one of whom you guys may encounter as we continue to grow our involvement. Her name's Laura, and she's really wonderful. But because everybody knows me here in Walnut Creek, it was logical for me to do the presentation. so I'm happy to do that. And I want to start by saying that we're talking today about solutions, about action, about the power that we have to do things, because the conversation around climate change can be overwhelming. It can give us feelings of sadness or even despair, and that's not what this is about. This is about action that actually moves the needle. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Just next slide, please. Just a little quickie on Sustainable Contra Costa. We have been around since 2008. We are designed to inspire people to live sustainably and to create really communities that are ecologically sustainable, but also economically vibrant and socially just. Those are the three legs of the stool. That's why we have our nice little Venn diagram there. That's what we call sustainability. And so we do that in lots of different ways. We have workshops. We have an awards program, which we just completed last week, Leadership and Sustainability Awards. We provide the content for the educational side of a number of different groups around the county, government agencies, and others. For example, our sewer people, the Central Contra Costa Sanitary District, has an education program. We teach that program for them. We do the workshops for a coalition of government agencies called BayREN that is teaching people how to do energy upgrades in their homes and get all the wonderful rebates that you can get for changing out your appliances and water conserving, things like that. So we've done a lot of different things in various venues. We have a really powerful youth team that we're very proud of. But really the central program is this one that I'm going to share with you called the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. And so that's what we're up to today, creating a safer, healthier future and a better today. And I'm going to start with the presumption, because I don't think we can take the time to argue whether or not climate change is a big issue, and it's a problem for humanity, and whether or not human activities are the primary cause of it. I hope we can start there. If you want to have that argument, let's do that some other time. But we're going to start with the presumption that it's human activities. And then we'll say, well, what can we do? Because many people, can we have the next slide? Yeah, many people are concerned and want to do something. This is an important statistic. 66% of Americans want to act, but they're not sure how. And just my little 3-sentence acknowledgement of the idea of political action. I don't want this talk to make us think we don't have to worry about policy and government and leaders, because we do. That is a huge area with a lot of leverage. So I don't want anyone to take their foot off the gas, or if you haven't gotten involved in that arena, to say, well, I don't need to, or I can't, because we need to. We all need to be aware of the policies that our leaders are putting in place. We need to vote for people who will put more of those kinds of climate-friendly policies in place and make a real difference on a large scale. So none of this is to say that individual action is the only thing, but there is also a feeling among some people, at least, that individual action doesn't matter, that there actually isn't enough that we could accomplish in our own homes to make a difference. And that's really the argument that we need to have today and show that that's not true. Next, thank you. Gus is like literally watching my finger, and when I hit the arrow, he changes the slide. This is not connected to the presentation. It's amazing. So here are the top 5 factors. And upper left, 28% transportation in all its forms, but it includes our own getting ourselves around. Electricity production, 27%. Industry is 22%. There's an area where policy and politics makes a difference. 12% is the way that we heat things. So heating our homes and cooking our food, all the various things that are done to cause heat. Here in the West, it's mostly natural gas, but back east and in many parts of the world, there's oil and coal. Are we having trouble hearing? Oh, okay. So then the last lower right-hand corner, 10%, is our food choices. Not only the things that we buy at the grocery store, but the ways that they are raised and grown. And so that makes the point that 40% of the emissions, next slide, oh my God, you're good, come from 5 basic household activities, right? So how we heat our homes, how we get our electricity, our transportation, our food choices, and our waste stream, which isn't as big, but it definitely is a contributor to climate change. So if 40% of the things that happen in our homes produce these emissions, then we have a lot of power. That's the good news. We can make a big difference. And the good news, thank you, is we have solutions, right? We have ways, we already know a whole bunch of really powerful ways to make a difference. Yes, people are doing research into wonderful new ideas and, oil from algae and things like that, and who knows if fusion power will ever come around, but that's okay. They can keep doing that, but we've got solutions right now. So this is in a time when we have an opportunity to make these impacts with our own lifestyle changes and feel powerful in doing it, right, to make a real difference. And not only does it reduce our carbon emissions and help in, turning back climate change, drawing down is a word that, if we have time, I'll mention Project Drawdown, but basically healing the climate change issue and the carbon in the atmosphere, but it also improves things like overall air pollution, things that would cause asthma and other problems in folks breathing the air, not even to mention carbon emissions. It improves our health with an improved diet, and it creates jobs and it saves money. In fact, here's a little list here. Thank you. All of those things come from the actions that we can take. So that's the beautiful thing. And let's just review some of them. The quick snapshot here with renewable energy is that we do have solar technology, wind turbines, geothermal, and other renewable sources. Now, you cannot necessarily put up a windmill in your house or a geothermal power source. There's the political side. We need to support those initiatives. But at home, if you are one of those lucky folks that has the ability to have solar on your house, there's no trees shading your roof, and you work out the financing, right? It is a capital cost, although I will say that there are some programs that allow you not to have to put up a big chunk of money to get the solar on your roof. That's wonderful, and you absolutely should do that. Solar is still a great choice. Many new homes are being built with the panels already on them. However, pardon? It's a law, yeah, that they have to put the solar panels on, but you don't. So if you can't have solar panels on your house, however, don't give up, because you can choose through a community choice aggregator. Most of us have the option with MCE in the Bay Area, or through your utility, PG&E. You can choose to effectively make all of your energy come from renewable sources. Now, to tell you the truth, you don't actually get a different set of electrons from your neighbor if you choose deep green. What you're doing is similar to buying carbon credits. You're giving that little extra fee, and it really isn't much, that you pay to MCE or PG&E. You're sending that into a pool of money that allows them to build more and more renewable projects and shift the mix of energy that we're all getting to be more and more and more renewable. So it is, in effect, paying for your energy to be 100% renewable, even though in actual practice we all get the same mix. But it is absolutely worth doing, whether or not you have solar. All right, so that's one of them. And then with other electrical issues, we come to heat pumps for water heaters and for home furnaces and heating. Really shouldn't use the word furnace, because that, to me, implies a gas burner. But many homes currently use natural gas, propane, or fuel oil. That's more in the eastern part of the country. And so we now have highly efficient electric heating options available that not only reduce the climate impact, but also save a lot of money over time. They can be for space heating, for water heating, for cooking, for clothes drying. There are these induction stoves that we've been hearing about as a way to heat your food with very efficient electrical systems. So there's a lot of different actions that the challenge will remind us about that have to do with that. And then, Next one, thank you, electric cars and trucks. If you are lucky enough to be able to purchase an electric vehicle, that's wonderful. But you can also just get around with transportation that is not a car, such as a bicycle, believe it or not, yes. E-bikes are a big thing right now. If you don't want to ride your bike without any assistance, you can get one like I have with an electric motor, and Brenly has one too. So those are great ways to think about transportation. There's also several programs right now for subsidies for electric cars. There's one called Clean Cars for All from the Air District, various other things like that. The action for not driving a car on the challenge, each action has a name. It's actually take the train or subway, take the bus, bike, walk, skateboard, or unicycle. So you have choices. All right, and then you can go to the next one, Gus, and one more click. Yeah, so for food, as I say, it's not just our actual choices at the grocery store, although those are important. So more plants, less animals. But also, if we are talking especially about animals, how are they raised? Are they local? Did they come from far away? What was the conditions in which they were raised? Was it a way that uses a lot of water, which has a climate change connection, and also produces a lot of emissions? So we have an action called Eat Lower Down on the Carbon Chain, basically where you're making those choices. But then, of course, organic food goes to the way that the food is raised, especially plant crops, and that has a lot to do with emissions and pollution as well. So there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of room in the food area, and then there's one other that we'll touch on if we have time, which is food waste, which is the food that is thrown away. Hello.
Hi, can I say something?
Yes. Well, we have, in order for the people on YouTube to hear you, you have to have a microphone, which... Yes, we are. Okay. All right, so then the waste stream itself, reducing the things that we throw away. We have so much packaging right now. I believe, actually, plastic packaging has increased over the last 10 years. The plastic industry was a little nervous in the 70s and 80s that people would start banning different forms of plastic. So they came up with this idea that it's all recyclable. And everything has that wonderful little triangle symbol on it, so you just throw it in the recycle bin. Well, not exactly. So much of that plastic is now just sitting in warehouses or just going into the landfill. And so we created a system over the last 20 years in which we all think every form of plastic is recyclable, and now we have to turn that ocean liner around and begin to shift our packaging away. So we can make the choices at the store not to purchase those things with all the packaging. We can also compost our food waste, which is a wonderful thing. I actually give a lot of it to my chickens, but that's another story. All right, so those are the sort of the big 5 solution areas. But I want to talk to you about, thank you, the challenge itself, which really is this fabulous platform that was designed to make it simple, easy, and even fun for us all to learn about the solutions that we can make, the choices we can make in our own homes, and save money, clean the air, improve our health, create local jobs, all of those things. And it's designed really with 2 main purposes. One is to make it easy to do these things by showing you how, by giving you a sort of toolkit for each action and local resources, so you don't feel like, well, that sounds fine, but I don't know how to do it. It's in there. But it's also designed to get us together, to get us talking to each other and saying, hey, how are you doing? Did it work for you? What do you like? What works? And tracking our progress collectively, because we have found that when we are all in this together, when we feel like it's a team effort, so much more progress is made. So the way that we like to roll this challenge out is to groups like Unity of Walnut Creek and say, hey guys, why don't you take this on as an entity, as a congregation in this case, or we go to the Rotary clubs, or we do high school classrooms, because it's so much more powerful when we are together. So the quick little credits is that this is a program that's funded by a bunch of different agencies, especially the county of Contra Costa, but also those cities that you see there. And it was started originally through a grant from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and now we are bringing in all sorts of partners all over the county. This actual platform itself that you're going to be logging into and signing on, that's actually created by someone else. That was invented by a vendor called Community Climate Solutions, and they have rolled this out in cities all over the country. So we are joining a nationwide group of people working on this. In the Bay Area, there's at least 10 other cities doing it: Fremont, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Sebastopol. Anyway, I can't remember all of them, but you get the idea. This particular one is oriented toward Contra Costa County, and it is the first time in the history of this platform that an entire county has taken it on. And we're a pretty big county, so it's ambitious, and we're working on it. We're growing it. So that's where that comes from, and here's what the home page looks like. And so when you hit cleanercontracosta.org, this is what you'll see. It's very easy to sign up. There's that little button right there in the middle where you can sign up. And when you sign up, the first step that is, I think, really fun is to complete your energy profile. You don't have to do it. It is optional, but it's going to allow you to see your current footprint, your energy footprint, and give you accurate information about the actions that you take and how much you're actually saving. Then you will actually choose those actions, and then, oh, you're already there, Gus. And then you can compare and contrast with other people and do the group thing. So, but on the energy profile page, you see you're going to go through very quickly, probably 5 or 10 minutes, and just answer questions about your household. How many cars? How often do you drive them? What kind of a stove do you have? You know, all those kind of simple questions that give the your account a baseline, right? And the fun thing is that when you have done that, okay, next slide, you can compare yourself. Oh, how am I doing versus the whole United States? How am I doing versus people in China or India? How am I doing? That says Palo Alto, but in your case, it would say the city that you, or actually would say Contra Costa. So that's kind of cool just to see where you're starting. You know, are you already kind of doing well, or do you have room? We all have room to go. And as you are looking at the actions, next slide, there is an option to choose things you are already doing. And some people are disappointed when I say you can choose actions that you're already doing, but you don't get credit for saving the carbon emissions or the water that come with that. I mean, you do get credit cosmically. Of course you do, and it's wonderful that you're doing that. But the reason we're rolling this out right now is for all of us to reduce even further. And that is really important to understand. We are, some of us, doing the best we can. Well, we're doing okay, but not necessarily the best we can. This is going to remind us how much further we can go without tremendous hardship either. That's the thing about it. A lot of these actions are quite simple, but you may not have thought about them, or you just weren't motivated to actually do it. So that's really the reason that this whole thing is set up that way. So there are categories for all the actions: energy, transportation, food, waste, water conservation. There's also community actions and actions where you learn about things. So you find the actions that are right for you. So there's a grid, and you can sort them by different categories. There are ones that are easy. There's ones where if you live in an apartment, you don't have a house. Different kinds of ways to slice and dice the actions. With each action, as you can see at the bottom of the tile for each action, it tells you, is it easy or not? It has the little star for the word easy. But it also tells you how much you can expect to save in dollars and in points. So points on the platform either represent a pound of carbon dioxide or a gallon of water over what period is I think in both cases it's over a year, right? So we know that there's tons of CO2 being emitted, right? So we want to go beyond, 3 pounds a year of reduction, and you can easily get there. In many of these actions, you will be in the thousands of pounds that your household is reducing. So that's what the points represent. So then if you click on a particular action, can you do the one with the vegetables there, Gus? The next one, yeah. So here's a particular action, and it shows you, oh, I'm going backwards here, what the impact would be. So if you start making a meal plan, you will earn 390 points. If there's an upfront cost, if there's a time commitment, other resources that you will save, besides the 390 points that you get in greenhouse gas emission savings, and then the annual dollar savings, right? So that's all there. You can customize the action. You can say, I'm only going to, let's say it's changing a light bulb. I'm going to change 5 light bulbs in my house. Or you can make it say, I'm going to change 10, right? So then when you complete the action, you can post it on the challenge, and other people can see that you did it. But let's drill down into a particular action. They have these steps that take you through it. So, is this the changing light bulbs one? Oh, no, this is food. Okay. So you see that there's 4 different steps, and each one, if you expand it, will go into a more detailed explanation. Now we're looking at the light bulb one. But there's a lot of information here. So, okay, light bulbs is, maybe we don't need a step-by-step guide in how to change our light bulbs. However, there are definitely some actions. Yeah, some people do, I know. There definitely are some actions that you will want to be guided through. And so that's what this part is, that really goes through how to do it and gives you some background and some information you might not have known about what to do with the action. And then, can we do the one called custom resources, Gus? Yeah. At the bottom, below the step-by-step action plan, this is really the cool part, because these resources have been loaded specifically for Contra Costa County. So in a particular action, let's say changing out your shower heads and other water fixtures to be more low flow, they will directly link you to the water utility for your area. If you're an East Bay Mud customer, you'll see that resource. If you're a Contra Costa Water District customer, you'll see that resource. People out in the Delta, I don't know who your water utility is, but that'll be in there, hopefully. And that will then let you sign up for the rebate that you get from those utilities for doing this, or in some cases, the utility provides you with the free. They'll just give you the low-flow water shower head if you want, that kind of thing. So these resources are custom for us here in Contra Costa for each action and for each region or place that we live. And it's really, really valuable, I think, to have that, because that's a way to feel powerful. We can do this because, look, here's how I do it, and here's resources that allow me to do it easily. All right, so then the community group slide, yeah. So, and does that have 2 parts to it? No, it doesn't. All right, so now we get to the sort of having fun together and helping each other, motivating each other side of it. There are 2 ways that we can be in groups as members of or as users of the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. The first is called a community group, and our community group really is Unity of Walnut Creek. Unless you're already part of some other group, which I doubt, just please join the Unity of Walnut Creek group. And we can have unlimited members of this group. And on these handy-dandy postcards that the team had made up, there's a QR code there. If you scan that with your phone, that will take you to a custom link, which gets you right into, as you join, you become a member of the community group of Unity of Walnut Creek. And we want everybody to be in there. And one of the things that it does, as you can see on this page, is it tracks our progress. This is an actual screenshot that I took of our team, and we haven't really even gotten started. So we've already got 5 new actions completed. We've already saved a little less than $300. We have 4,400 points. Just for folks who sort of in the background have joined, mostly the Earth Care team, and done some things, we've already gotten started. But we have a lot further that we can go. And the team may decide as we roll this out further into the end of this year and the beginning of next year to set congregational goals. Hey, everybody, let's get to 30,000 points by April 1st. I'm not saying it specifically. We can figure out what that should be, but this is the place where we see how we're doing on those goals, is the community page. But then there's these things called teams. And this is real fun because it's a smaller group. A team really shouldn't have more than about 10 members. It could be a little more. It's not hard and fast. I don't think it cuts you off if you try to go over 10. But the idea is that it's a small group of people that you are more closely connected to, and you are competing against the larger group, not against the larger. You're competing as a member of the larger group against the other teams. And it's friendly competition, but it's kind of fun to see, how are the points doing. So we could have the heart ministers could have a team. The men's group could have a team, right? Various other folks, the red hats, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an existing group either. It could just be some, people like to go to lunch after church together or whoever. The board definitely should have a team. I'm looking at you, Veronica. So, the teams, and you can come up with funny names for the teams, it's kind of cute. And you can track your progress, right? So you create a team. There does need to be one person designated as the contact person for that team, but there's not a lot of extra work, don't worry. So, you got to decide on somebody to be your team leader. And then we can have a leaderboard and show how the teams are doing, how they compare with each other. So it's a really fun way to track our progress and to keep each other connected. I was going to just say one more, you do the something for everyone slide, yeah, about the way that things are categorized in terms of the actions. The quick boost is things that are very simple and you do them right away. The on a budget ones that don't cost a lot up front. There's family-friendly ones, so the whole family can participate. And step it up is kind of the next level. Are you ready to, go to the next level? And I know some of you will be. But it's important that you choose the actions that are right for you and set the goals for you and your household and your team that are right for you. Because we don't want people to be overwhelmed and just say, forget it. I can't do it. Choose actions that work for you, and choose things in terms of point goals and other goals that, feel achievable, but, stepping it up, kind of moving us to the next level. So we do encourage, kind of as a generic goal, that a household set a goal of reaching 5,000 pounds of reduced carbon. That would be 5,000 points in the first 3 to 6 months. And so we have an example. Is that what this next one is? Yeah. Of how to do that, right? So here is the Johnson family who chose to lower their thermostat, to combine their trips whenever possible. So they're doing less one-off trips in the car. To reduce their meat consumption, they're replacing a meal that had red meat in it per week with a plant-based meal. And to go to their community choice aggregator, in most cases that would be MCE, and choose 100% green electricity. And when they do that, thank you, not much of an upfront investment, just the fee that you have to pay for the 100% green. I think MCE calls it deep green. But then there's a lot of savings. You're saving $530 a year, and there's your carbon impact, 5,057 pounds. There, you got to 5,000 pounds just from those 4 actions. So it is really quite possible. Another thing that I don't have a slide for, and I'm not actually going to try to dial up live the platform and show you because that's complicated. But you can use the platform to share with everybody else about whatever you do. So after you complete an action, after you walk through the steps, it has sort of a calendar for you, and you do the action A, then B, then C, and when you're done, then you're considered to have completed that action. So those explanation steps that I showed you earlier. So when you've gone through all those, you've completed the action, you can do a little post, which will just be seen by the Unity of Walnut Creek community group, if you want to set it that way, which is fine, that says, hey, we just did this, and it's really cool. We're so happy we saved money or whatever it is in this action that we took. So there's that sort of internal social media side of things where we share with each other. We also can maybe have announcements every once in a while. The platform could get up there and say, this month, our team reduced by, so much. Make a nice little slide. So we want to keep communicating with each other about it, is what I'm saying. And just for progress, the next slide, is how the whole county is doing. Those big giant numbers at the top are the goals, 2,500 households. Inside the circle, the tiny little number is the actuality, 1,808, which is wonderful, right? It's a beautiful goal. And it's a beautiful point to be at on the way to the 2,500, and then the goals will keep increasing beyond that. We're rolling it out all over the place. 1,000 tons of CO2 by December. We are at 54% of that. There's the top community group and team. And then down below is the specific items. So how much kilowatts of electricity have we saved? How many gallons of gas, etc. So that's always fun to see. And then there's a Walnut Creek page, thank you, that if you live in Walnut Creek, you'll see this. If you live in other cities, I'm pretty sure it's been set up now to dial into a specific city progress chart. So it's fun to see what your city is doing. I wonder if, this might be annoying, Gus, but there was a slide way at the beginning that was just a picture of the home page. Oh, no, never mind. It doesn't have it. I was going to show you that there's a little sidebar where you can say, how's my region doing? That would be Contra Costa. How's my city doing? How's my team doing? How's my community? You can choose each of those, but I don't have a picture of that. Okay, so let's just go to the very last one, Gus, which is the contact slide. It's got Lee's email on there, although you guys have a... Oh, it's earthcare@unitywalnutcreek.org. Never mind that it has Lee's person. Ignore that. I know nobody's writing it down right now anyway, but if you get one of these postcards, you'll see the EarthCare team's email address. That's the one to communicate with. You're welcome to write to me as well, Tyler, at sustainablecocoa.org, but really, I'm just here to kind of kick this off, and then we're going to do this together as a community. So use that. And then the last slide after this is a special link. Thank you, Gus. This particular link will take you to the community group. So that's the one that has it goes from this QR code, but we can share it other ways. Maybe we can put that on the website so that when you click on that and then from that sign up to be a user, you'll automatically be added to the Unity community group. So that's the power of those custom links. We think it's a good idea. But of course, if you join without doing that, if you just go to cleanercontracosta.org, then you can, after you're finished, go in and join the community group as well. Either way is fine. All right, so I just want to conclude by encouraging us to feel that we have the power to make a lot of change that makes a big difference, because that's what this is about. Reminding us of the effectiveness of personal action and teaching us how to do each of these actions. And then really that together is the strongest way that we can approach this problem. We need to talk about it with each other more. We need to talk about it with our friends more. There's a little bit of embarrassment sometimes. People don't want to get into that because it's a gloomy conversation or because you don't know how the other person feels. Try it. Just bring it up. And we are positive people, right? That is what a hallmark of Unity and our outlook on the world. So you can talk about climate change without saying, oh, isn't it horrible, we're all going to die? You don't have to start that way, but you can say, I'm concerned about this, and I've noticed this and that, and at my spiritual center I go to, we got this thing that we join, and just talk about it, whatever, and in whatever way, so that it becomes a community, and I'm really using that to go beyond Unity, our larger community, becomes a community conversation and a community problem, because that's really the only way we're going to get anywhere. So that's my little dog and pony. I think Lee will come up and remind us of kind of what our progress will be as a community group. If you want to do that now, maybe, and then we'll take questions. Does that sound good, Lee? Okay.
I don't know if I can, is this on?
Oh.
Hi. I don't know if I can remind you much of our progress. I mean, we have doubled our size in the last week. However, we were really small, so I think
Well,
we're...
I mean, the plans for going forward.
The plans for
Like the
going...
October focus.
Okay, so the plans for going forward is we're hoping that, I'm nervous, sorry about this. Probably talking a mile a minute, but thank you. We thought what we would do as we start is ask everybody that one place to focus maybe is we all focus on energy. That might be a great way to do it. And there are two easy ones out of the box. Make sure you have LED light bulbs if you don't already have those. And if you've got PG&E, sign up for Deep Green through MCE. Those are two major things that can be done very, very simply. And I have MCE. It doesn't cost that much more to have it, just a little.
Yeah, and PG&E does have its own sort of versions of those. They're a little different. To me, MCE is very simple. It's just you pay this much extra, and you're paying into this pool that produces more renewable sources. PG&E has one that's all about solar, only involved in supporting local solar projects, and then they have another one. And we like to say that you can do both. Not that anybody is completely opposed to PG&E. Well, that's a different conversation. You're retired now. Richard's retired now, so we can say whatever we want, right? But MCE, to me, is very simple. And just across the board, a couple of extra cents a week, and you're doing it. So.
And Unity of Walnut Creek's doing it.
Yes.
Really, I mean, we got the board, or somebody said, go ahead, and if it's not already in line, I'm going to double check it. It will be for sure, very shortly. So we're really excited about that. So that's one way one thing we can all do maybe in October, and we'll report out at the end of October how we did. Meanwhile, if any of you are having any kinds of difficulties signing up, we're going to be out on the next 2 Sundays between services and after. We'll be here. We can help people actually sign up live as they're with you, or you can also contact that email address actually comes to me. If you contact me through earthcare@unityofw.org, we'll get in touch and figure out a way. If we need to come out and help you at your house, that's okay too. Just think it's really important all of us can get together and do this together. This for me is a passion, so I'm so excited to be involved in with an opportunity like this with a community where we can really make a little difference, each one of us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so does anyone have questions? And Lena is ready with the microphone if you do, so that the folks online can hear you. Oh, here comes Kristen. Well, we could do it that way too. I thought people would just stay in their chairs. It doesn't matter. Up to you. Oh, well, that's a good point.
Do with our hello everyone who's online too. I really appreciate what you were saying about like that there's always room for improvement. So as I was looking at the categories, I already eat pretty much a plant-based diet, and so I was thinking, oh good, we're good there. But then I recently learned when Brenly's nephew came to visit us, we kind of had already heard that almonds take a lot of water, and so we had stopped drinking almond milk and started drinking oat milk, and then we still had almond butter in the cupboard. And he goes, do you know it takes 1,500 gallons of water to make some small amount of almonds? So we don't do that anymore. I don't eat almonds anymore. I love almonds, but I don't eat them anymore. I noticed they're on the picture.
Well, actually, pretty much all fruit and nut trees use massive amounts of water, but they don't make milk from other fruits or nuts. I mean, there's occasionally cashew milk.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, that's.
Yeah, I have seen that, but then I've also seen that being disputed. So I'm not sure if it's multiple times more than other nut varieties.
I guess my point is that we can all improve in any category that we think we're doing well in, and we can educate each other as we learn things, and we can double check with people like Tyler and Sustainable Contra Costa to see if what we learned is true. So I think it's just really exciting, and there are, across the board, we can all make such a difference. So I'm just thrilled about it. So thank you all for being here and for participating in this. Mother Earth thanks us.
Alberto, back.
Okay, may I say something?
Oh, of course.
So PG, oh, that's true, and now I need to be on camera. Okay. I think we're going to be wearing green stuff in the future so that you can see us and ask for help at any time. PG&E has an amazing program. They came out to my place at Rossmore. They replaced every bulb. They gave me a ton of computer strip things. Power strips.
Yeah.
They literally insulated my doors outside and in. They put in low flow shower head, faucet heads, and if I had replied within a year, which I unfortunately replied in 54 weeks, they would have given me a new refrigerator. So this is for either, I don't know if it's elder, low income, there's some qualifications, but they did at least $1,500 worth of stuff. Oh, and I got the thermostat.
Yeah, the smart thermostat.
So it was very fun to go online and work with the program because I had done a whole bunch of stuff. And I have one question, and that is, when you see your impact, is high number a good number? Because I saw the U.S. was a 10, and then I was a 9.4, and I didn't know if that was a good number or a bad number.
The lower the better. That you're talking about the comparison with others. Yeah, you want to be down. That's output.
But I'm doing so much. I
You
mean all
you were
that.
higher, still higher than China? Is that what you meant, or India?
No, it was the U.S.
Oh, really? Oh, then there might be something odd in your energy profile. That
Thank
happens
you.
sometimes. Like you clicked something, you didn't realize it.
Thank you.
It thinks you have 5 cars or something.
I have one Prius.
Yeah, but
So, okay, we'll
mistakes
talk.
can
Okay.
happen. Yeah, we
So
can sort that
anyway,
out.
The thing is, you get into that, and then you do start getting competitive and with yourself. And it's actually very fun. But just pick a couple subjects to work on so we don't get overwhelmed. And I think starting with one
Let's
together
all
is
do
a
energy
really lovely
in October.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will
Now-
say for the thing that PG&E did for Lena, they may have some means testing or age area, lines, but there's one that's available to everybody from Rising Sun Center for Opportunity, and that is listed as one of the resources on the action where you switch out your light bulbs and other things. But if you don't even get that far, just look up Rising Sun Center for Opportunity. They will send these folks out to your home and go around and do an audit of everything and then leave you with a lot of this free stuff, no matter who you are. But the PG&E one goes even further. So, yes, Alberto.
Well, my only question was that I just heard about almonds, and I would like to ask about soy, because I'm using soy milk. And I would
Well,
like to know-
soy is an annual crop, similar to corn, lettuce, things like that, and those do use quite a bit of water, especially if they are grown in a very traditional way. There are ways to save water as a farmer, but a lot of the folks that grow soy are out in the Midwest, and they just don't have that as a major driving force, so they're spending a lot of water to grow that crop. Now, compared to almonds, I can't give you that number. It's definitely worth looking into. Dairy cattle take a lot of water too, so it's not necessarily worse. It may be quite a bit better in many cases. So everything, growing plants takes water, but if you do it in a careful way, in a thoughtful way, if you shift your methods, you can save a lot. And we are learning more and more about that in our agricultural systems. But it's not always easy. The Central Valley of California has a very, I might say, anachronistic water system in which the folks that own these big tracts of land have the right to drill and set a well down in their property and draw as much water as they want. from the aquifer that runs under everybody's property. It's not considered community property. It's considered their water just because they happen to be able to put their well down in that spot. And that is because agriculture uses so much water, that's the place where the aquifer is getting depleted massively. There's areas where the soil has literally collapsed, has subsided because the aquifer, the water table has been drawn so low. So we're working on that too. You know, agriculture is a massive consumer of water, and for us who aren't farmers, that's an area where we can support the political movements, the politicians, the laws, the advocacy groups that are working to teach these farmers and encourage them to change their practices, and actually to make laws that say, sorry, the water under your land is actually not yours, it's everybody's, and you have a limit on how much you can draw. That is causing a big stir in the agricultural community because for hundreds of years it hasn't been that way. And so some of these farmers and the groups that they have formed, sort of lobbying groups to look out for their interests, are going to fight hard against any change in that law. But the tide is turning. There is more and more interest in shifting our agricultural water laws because we're using it up. So anyway, soy versus almond, I don't know the details, but soy does take some water to grow for sure.
Thank you.
Carl has a...
Real quickly, just this thing on water. We all know California's issue with water, and I don't think it's going to get any better, and it kills me. But when you said like soy might come from the Midwest, they might be inundated in water. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you said soy was growing here, or and I know the almonds are growing here a lot.
Yes. No,
Like,
California is
we're
the
big
major
almond
producer
grower
of
in the
almonds.
nation, so
True.
we know that issue. We understand the ramifications of it, as opposed to if something comes from someplace like they're flooded half the year. It is a different water.
Yeah, it's different, and it may not be an issue. Now, there is also the concept of food miles that we should think about, which is how far did that stuff travel to get to you? And so one of the things that I like to encourage people to do is buy at the farmer's market, because that forces you to eat seasonally. You cannot have ripened, nice, beautiful red peppers in January if you only get your produce from the farmer's market. If you insist on having red peppers, you're going to have to go to Safeway, and they're going to come from Chile or maybe Mexico. And that transportation is a lot of carbon emissions to get them here. And who knows what kind of growing practices as well. So, and then any other product, just thinking about where it came from. The whole idea of becoming a locavore is kind of fun. You know, can you eat most of your or all of your food that comes from only a 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius, something like that?
Edgar Casey had one of the different things, the psychic said that to be nutritionally balanced, you must eat food within 50 miles. 10 is preferable. Of course, he was in Virginia Beach. But that it's not just about bringing the food in, it's about being in energetic connection with the ground around you.
Well, being connected to your place, yeah. Being
Exactly.
indigenous to your place, and therefore that's where your food comes to.
Exactly.
Very big. Cat up here in the... Thank you for your shuffling the mic back and forth, Lena.
Tyler, would you educate me a bit about electric cars? I hear a lot about lithium mining. I hear a lot about battery recycling or not recycling, and what's going into the landfills because of that. And I want to understand all of that.
Well, you won't understand it all from me. No, I can't. That is not an area that I have deep knowledge of, but I am certainly aware that there's two factors. A new car, period, no matter what method it uses to, to produce its energy to get around, takes a tremendous amount of energy to create. Resources mined out of the earth, just the metals for the parts in the body. So buying new cars, period, is something we should think carefully about and not do nearly as often as Americans have gotten in the habit of doing. And that is shifting, actually. I'm hearing that people are buying used cars more often and less new. But then the question of emissions versus waste, which is really what it is with EVs, right? No, they're not producing any direct carbon emissions right there, although how was the electricity produced that you charged it with? Was that from a, it's not necessarily going to be a coal-fired plant here in California, but it might be a natural gas. We have natural gas power plants, quite a few in California. So maybe that is the way that the electricity was produced. So that's something to factor into it. But if you have solar panels on your house and you're totally, or you're deep green, and that's how you recharge your Tesla or your Chevy Volt, okay, then we took that out of the equation, but now you've got the battery and the extraction problem with batteries, and not just lithium, but other very rare and important metals and minerals, and then the disposal. The mineral issue is definitely getting worse. People are starting to really think about it as EVs are getting more and more popular, and laws are being made, right? California already said can't make any or buy any new gas-powered cars after 2030. Well, that is going to require a massive increase in EV production. So the folks that make the batteries are thinking about, wow, we may have an issue finding enough supply to produce these. I heard about a Canadian company that's figured out that there's these nodules that sit on the ocean floor that form naturally, deep ocean, below the level where most of the ocean life is. They call the benthic zone, that contain a lot of these minerals that they need for these batteries. And this company is trying to devise this little thing that crawls along the ocean floor and sort of picks them up. Will that be a disruption of the ocean ecosystem? If that's scaled up to a massive scale, what'll happen? Those things are finite, right? There's not an infinite number of them. What's going to happen when we run out of them? All of that has to be thought about. And then when you dispose of a battery, it's hazardous waste. If it just sits there on the ground, it's leaching all that stuff into the water table, so you have to dispose of it in a special landfill with a huge, massive liner that is supposed to protect it. But does it? In 100 years, in 500 years, will that landfill liner have a hole in it, and now we've poisoned the groundwater for future generations? So I guess I didn't help at all, except to say that it's a complicated issue. And one thing that is a little encouraging to me is people are beginning to have that conversation now. What's this going to look like in 100 years? Whereas 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, the ethic was, well, that's a great idea, let's just do it. And if it causes some problem, we'll figure it out later. Like nuclear power is a great example. Oh, well, cool, we can make electricity from fission, so let's just do it. And we'll work out the problems later. So we've sort of moved past that a little bit. I'm hearing more and more people say, what is the long-term ramification of this? But when you have a huge economic demand like that for EVs, the question sometimes gets pushed to the side. Let's hope we can figure out what to do about batteries. But boy, we better start building more EVs right now. So, yes. And if I find some resources that will help us analyze this better, I will share them, I promise. Shari has a question.
Yeah, I wanted to add that cell phones are the same way.
Oh, yeah.
It's a terrible problem. Don't get a new cell phone.
Well,
guys.
e-waste in general. Here I am sitting in front of this laptop.
But that's all I wanted to say.
No, you're absolutely right.
Cell phones.
Batteries for all of the devices. We have so many more battery-powered devices now than we used to. And it's not necessarily a good thing. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. I just wanted to mention a couple of things that I thought was very helpful for me on the platform. One was when you select actions on the left-hand side, I was able to, I'm a renter, right? And I'm relatively low income, and I'm able to make sure they're renter friendly, and it cuts out all the ones that don't apply to me, and how much money I'm able to put out up front. So that's pretty great. I just wanted to let people know that. But and the other thing what I did, you had mentioned in the beginning that...
Can you put the mic right up? Yeah.
Oh, I've never done this. Is that you had mentioned in the beginning how if there's a certain action like recycle and you already do it and you check, completed or whatever, you don't necessarily get the points for it. But I noticed that there's always room for improvement, like you mentioned. And I'll go in there and, I will change, I'll learn a bunch of stuff that I didn't even dawn on me before. Like little things that I can recycle or what I can compost and what I can't. The resources are incredible. So I generally will take the action and say that I'm working on it, which I am.
Yeah.
But then I have a really good sense, I just do a little bit more than I normally do. So it's a really positive feeling, and we get the points too.
And that's
Just
totally
saying.
that's totally legit, right? If you're taking the action to a new level, then take credit for it, absolutely. And the truth is, what does it mean to complete an action? None of these are all hard and fast things. I mean, well, buying an electric vehicle and getting rid of your gas-powered car, that's pretty concrete. But there are a number of actions that have some gray to them. And so we do our best, you know, and you try to follow the steps as they are laid out. But if they don't all work for you, you can't, you know. So it's not hard and fast, but we're doing our best. Any other questions, Veronica? So skillful. It just makes it more interesting that way.
Yeah, this is not a question. This is a let's do this. Let's do this. I'm so pleased to see 5 board members sitting in this group today.
Yes.
So yeah, we will have a team. Tyler,
Yes.
bring it.
I know you will.
Okay.
I know
But
you will.
let's do this. Let's talk about this. Let's help others get acclimated to this as well. We have grandchildren who are going to have children who will have children, and it matters. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
And will you sign up within the next 24 hours?
I looked at it last night.
Come to
so
Jesus.
I wanted
Come to
be
Jesus.
But I wanted to be sure I wanted to be sure I was able to get into the Unity of Walnut Creek community. So I'm glad I waited because now you have that special link for me to be part of the community.
Yes, it is great
So
to
that
use
was
the
my
custom
last
link.
bit.
Excellent.
One other thing I'd say too, if you have been doing a lot of things, sure you have less room in terms of accumulating tons of points, but be proud of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you've done this already.
That's right.
For 3 months, 2 years, whatever you've done. So you don't have to compare yourself to somebody who jumps in and says, oh, I always wanted to do this. Wow, I got 5,000 points overnight. Good for them too. I mean that's the whole part of a team. It's all good. That's why I like the team idea better than individuals against individuals. Our team moved ahead.
Yes.
Whether it's a small team or
Right, and we
especially
help each
Unity of
other out.
Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I haven't really discussed it with my other team members, but I think anybody that wants to join the Unity of Walnut Creek team, like neighbors around the area, should be in. You don't need to be a Unity of Walnut Creek member.
I mean,
whatever.
you can, yeah. I mean, we don't. We like to be able to sort of use it as a way to communicate with each other, but well, and it might actually, absolutely. By the way, we're talking about this on Sunday. Come on down. Yeah, absolutely. You had something? Oh, okay. I think we might be wrapping up. 9 to 1. Okay, we clinched. Well, we'll see what happens. All right. Well,
You know,
thank you all. Keep
I
talking about this, right? Keep talking to each other and asking questions. One more.
I want to mention
Yes.
one other thing that I think that you mentioned that I think is a great selling point, a great conversation starter. Oh, you want me to go into the thing? Okay. The cone of not silent. So a big point that Tyler made was that Contra Costa County is the first county that's taken this on.
Right. It's only been cities up until now.
That is a conversation starter. So that point alone, to me, that's probably one of the first things that I'll share. And yes, this is a come to Jesus, Buddha, whoever, whatever. If, about a third of the people in this room have signed up. And so today, go home or afterwards, we can help you and we will just get you going. All right?
Are you going to be here afterwards? Yeah. Okay, because I signed up, but I can't figure out how to get me to join Unity, so happy to help.
Yeah, we can help with that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler, for your way of getting us through this. This is huge. Thank you, Lee. My goodness, a powerhouse behind a team that I know includes Lena and Sarah and Nancy and Carl, yeah, and Kat, right? Nancy, yeah, who'd I miss? Anybody else in the room I missed? Yeah, so it's a small and mighty group, right? Just like, who is our famous archaeological friend who said, that's how things get done. Thank you, I'm starving, so I have no brain cells. But I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged what this small and mighty group has done, what they've brought to our community, and what we can now do to help impact the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Go team! Go team!